that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land. I'm drinking my buddy's homemade wine, living Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud I own the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine in the Northwest wild.
Hey, good evening and welcome to Fish on Northwest, Wayne, England. Tommy Donlan on assignment out of studio for a week or two. Dave Calhoun, familiar face and voice of the airwaves, gracing us with your presence this evening.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is a blast.
Absolutely. First phone call I make when Tommy's going to be out doing whatever it is he does on a regular basis. So glad you were available and willing to make the drive up through all the deep snow.
Oh, it was horrible.
Oh, wait, that was last week.
Yeah. No, it was horrible.
Yes, postponed an entire week. Hey, JB. Hey, Jay. Justin, thanks for tuning in, boys. Yeah, folks are starting to log in here. Good stuff. Yeah, we were gone last week to no fault of our own. The snow hit. For some reason, they felt compelled to hold me over at work for an extra 24-hour shift, and thereby I worked another 72, which was always good. Yeah, nobody got hurt and everybody went home, so we were all good in that regard. Snow is melting for the most part. We're getting back to square one here, and very happy to bring you guys our weekly live show here Thursday evening, 6 p.m. If you're just joining us, hey, do us a favor. Take our content, share it out there, spread it out to all your friends. Let's get a whole bunch of people tuning in tonight as we have a ton of very good information to go over, tons of info. You are here, brought some fishing rods. We'll get into a fishing rod discussion a little later on. If folks have questions for you based on your Northwest rods, if you aren't familiar, Dave is the founder and rod builder and owner of Northwest Rods. Folks always have questions for you.
Yeah, send them in. I want to actually attack whatever the list is when we have time.
Right.
We're going to be talking winter steelhead rods. I mean, we can talk kokanee, we can talk salmon 360s, whatever it is. I mean, I have so many new models coming. We are growing so fast.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I mean, I'm answering my phones when people are calling and asking, do you have these and do you have these? And the answer is always yes. If I don't have it in stock, I have it in the back. You've seen the shop.
Oh, yeah.
It's full of rods waiting to find homes.
So much stuff. It's unbelievable.
It's like the pound. I mean, really, I want to play that soft, sweet music and have people crying that they find homes for these rods that need to go away.
It is like the rod pound. So
rod pound.
It's the rod pound.
Yes.
Look past the cage and pick out the rods out of the cage and take one home for a nominal fee. Okay, we have tons to get through this evening. Lots going on around the Pacific Northwest and beyond. Before we jump into all of that, I want to remind everybody that Fish on Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Commons Real Estate, located in Puyallup, Washington. And yes, we have about finalized our additional land purchase, building project and shop and all that's going on. So really happy about that. It's all coming together, getting us through all the bumps along the way to make it a smooth transition. Very excited. If you have needs, real estate needs, looking to buy or sell, get a hold of Joe Maxwell and team up there at Better Homes Pacific Commons out of Puyallup. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our good buddies out there at Defiance Marine. Not just me, and yes, Jay, I saw your comment earlier. Folks getting excited about that 21-foot Mustang hardtop that is about to roll out the door. We got Ray Marine on board. We'll be presenting their content info here in the very near future. Very happy to have them coming on board as a contributing sponsor. The boat is going to be loaded with Ray Marine from head to toe. Really excited about all the opportunity that it presents and what we're going to bring to the table with that boat on the water and all the various fisheries Tommy and I and crew will be out doing in the very near future. So the Mustang 21-foot hardtop, I'm telling you, if you're looking for a new boat, an all-around really dialed-in boat that's designed to perform well lakes, reservoirs, Columbia River, lower, upper, doesn't matter, Puget Sound, out into the ocean. This 21-footer will get it done all day long. It's a thing of beauty. So once we get it out there on the water, you guys are going to see just how well built this boat is and all that it opens up for us. And check out their other lines too. Their entire glass line of Areman, of course, their brand name Defiance, and all the glass opportunity they have with the line of boats there. Bo Palmer and gang out there, Defiance Marine. Also, Phoenix Protective Corp. Brought them on board here, started at the beginning of the year. www.phoenixprotectivecorp.com. If you're looking for employment, have previous military or police experience, Phoenix Protective Corp is looking for you. Fantastic job, benefits, 401k, the whole deal. One of the top of the line security businesses out there here on the West Coast, multi-state locations. Really a lot of great opportunity for you guys who are, again, previous military experience, indoor police. So moving on, make sure if you haven't, go to our webpage, Dave, if you haven't checked it out.
Oh, I have.
www.fishhuntnw.com. Tons of things going on there. Just uploaded a recent blog from our good buddy Ken Witt. Real nice piece he wrote in reflection on his father, who recently passed not too long ago, and just a really, really great little story and some stroll down memory lane, and talks about fishing the Chehalis River. Just a really nice little piece, tribute to Ken's father. And then, Ken is the sole provider of all the content on the Hunting Dad tab on our webpage, does a fantastic job. And we have a lot of other how-tos there, DIYs and just recipes and all kinds of stuff going on there. And of course, the online store with all the Fish Hunt Northwest swag, all types of new gear coming out here. New logos going to be released here in the next few weeks. We got our whole new line of hats, and of course, Jingling Jigs are on there. He has his 10 steelhead jigs, Jordan does, and of course, just came out with his Rufus Wood line of jigs that were very productive for Tommy and I and Jordan and Herzog when we were over there a couple weeks ago. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. I'm going to show you guys in the how-to section in the bait lab later on the show. I'm going to break down exactly the presentation and why it works so effectively when you're over there at Rufus Woods going after those humongous, gargantuan.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. Yeah, those are big.
And for good reason. They are a fantastic table fare as well. So moving along, lots going on around the Pacific Northwest and beyond. For those paying attention this week, yes, as threatened, a 60-day notice went out quite some time ago, well, maybe 60 days ago, from WFC, Wild Fish Conservancy. They were making WDFW aware they were going to file a lawsuit in regards to the Skykomish Summer Run trap and basically relocate and trap and spawn brood stock of the Summer Run program on the Skykomish River. We had Mark Spada on a few weeks ago to talk about that program and basically broke it down. Mark Spada, remember, is the president of the Snohomish Sportsman's Club. So we went into great detail with Mark and basically talked about the history of that particular run that they are got their sights set on. It's a man-produced summer run above Sunset Falls. They basically trap them at the trap, truck them above. They take some and spawn them. Some are released for natural spawn. This has been going on for 62 years, Dave.
Yeah, and their Skamania stream, right?
95%.
From then, right.
Yeah.
So these wild fish, they've got unicorns dancing in their head. They think that there's some 40-pound wild steelhead that they're going to save by filing these lawsuits. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of because nothing else makes sense.
No,
right?
What it is, it's tying up WDFW in litigation so that if you lock it down in a window of smolt opportunity plant time, and you go past that, WDFW is forced to simply release those smolt into a body of water, like a lake, like they forced them to do before.
They've done that in lakes in Kalama.
So they threaten litigation. They fall through with this lawsuit now that is filed against WDFW. This is WFC, Wild Fish Conservancy, your friends, remember, in saving the wild fish. Problem is, they're carrying the ESA banner. They're going after NOAA. They're going after WDFW, saying they haven't filed the proper permitting. WDFW, in multiple articles, has made it perfectly clear that they are filing for the proper permits through NOAA. It's being reviewed. They intend on planting no fish until those permits are obtained, which they feel the timeline will be suitable. Permits in hand, plant the fish as per normal. Again, this has been going on for 62 years. Now they want to raise the ESA Protect the Wild Stock Fish BS, and this is 95% Skamania strain. This has been happening for 62 years. They trap them at the trap, they truck them above the falls, they brood stock this strain of fish. Now this is the in-basin, high tributary recognized strain of fish, man-produced.
Right.
We're not saving jack squat in a wild genetic strain of fish. So WFC, you can take your lawsuit and put it where the fish don't swim.
Well, here's what we need to do. No, I've got it. So if we figure out who their lead attorney is and then hire him for our side, okay, that's the first thing I would do. I would take that first one, because that person, I guarantee that person probably doesn't even fish. Okay, he's figured out loopholes. He figured out ways to make the system work for the people that are pushing the buttons, right?
It's all about the money, Dave.
That's right.
They are looking just for out-of-court settlements. Prevent them from planting smolt, because you tie it up long enough that they aren't able to do so, and then get the payout.
Or they can't afford to fight the lawsuit, because these systems, all of our hatcheries are already spread so thin with the budget they have, and with the amount of equipment that is antiquated. I mean, 100-year-old hatcheries trying to raise fish these days is really, really hard. So you have them already stressed. Our money that goes into licensing isn't probably going to where it needs to go, and that's another day, right? So all of these things are stressed, and then you have somebody come in and say, oh, well, you need to get rid of these. You can fight them, or you can say, okay, well, let's stop planning. So, I think it's probably because it's just too hard to fight versus being right.
WDFW is holding their ground on this one, and I hope you continue to fight the fight, get this through the process, get your permits in hand, plant the fish, and continue the summer run Sky Comish broodstock program. For those that want to do something about it, you can contact NOAA Fisheries. Josh will put the link up here on our chat tonight. We'll make sure we get it out there. I think I already did on our Facebook page, but we'll put it out there again. Basically, you're going to submit comments by email, hatcheries.public.comment@NOAA, that's NOAA.gov. And this is to weigh in on the ESA probable listing, and or they're taking in information for the EA information in regards to this. So you can submit that. The EA is the environmental assessment. They have to go through this process. They have to go through this process. So you as a recreational angler can submit your concerns and or questions through this process to help them come up with a determination. I don't know if NOAA's going to actually, stamp this as an ESA protected run. I don't know why they would, because genetically it spawns from, Skamania strain. We've already established that. It's been long standing. So we'll see where this goes, but do your part. We'll leave the link up there. Jump on, put your comments in, weigh in, make sure you're part of the solution and not just letting other people dictate our problems. Okay, moving on, just making sure everybody's aware that one is out there in moving forward. Coho rumors confirmed. How about that? You're a Columbia River fisherman.
I am, and every year.
Hold on now. Okay. I know where you're going.
Keep going. Okay, go ahead.
So, Coho rumors confirmed 1.7 million thereabouts. They are roughly figuring 1 million plus some change on the early Columbia River Coho return, 576 to 580,000 late Coho return. Now, I know where you're going with this, in that they like to hype this up, get it out there, get everybody all excited so they sell fishing licenses and then pull the rug out from under you and narrow the season. And
I like that, but that's not where I'm going.
That's not where you're going. That's where everybody else goes, and it's probably going to blow up on here.
No, and I get that you're right there. That's always. Every year, no one's going to say, oh, it's a cruddy run. Go ahead and don't buy that boat.
Right.
Don't buy your license. That's not where I'm going. I'm going, why is it that the coho can come back in those large numbers? And I don't believe the number, but why is it the coho and not the Chinook? Is it because the nets are smaller or the nets are bigger and they're catching all the Chinook out there in the ocean? Because these are an Alaskan fish that we have had that discussion a million times with. Why are the Chinook not coming back?
Here's the positive outlook. First of all, the figures come from the Columbia River Recreational Advisory Group, meeting, the packet that was proposed and given to WDFW. So this isn't just factual information generated by WDFW. There's an advisory group that's also been involved with this to generate the numbers. It's not just about, for all you naysayers, promoting for license sales and making sure the industry, continues to survive. There's more going on here under the layers. Now, the numbers are staggering. And at the worst case scenario, if we get 50% of that, if we get 800,000 coho,
right.
Dave, remember what Buoy 10 did in 2015, 2014 when we had a million Chinook? So the beauty of this that nobody's really talking about, and perhaps Tommy and I in a few weeks will delve into this a little deeper, the abundance of coho in a number of these fisheries, like the Atahualco fishery and some of our ocean fisheries, and you got to think that coho returns hopefully will be a little on the uptick in some other areas as well. Still kind of waiting to really find where those numbers land via Puget Sound. But I guess my point here is a number of our opportunity on our targeted Chinook fisheries are minimized greatly in that we get up against our coho restraints, we hit our coho number, and they got to shut down the Chinook opportunity. We've left 40 to 60% Chinook on the table year in and year out in various fisheries. CQ, Ilwaco.
To protect the wild coho.
To protect the wild coho. So this is an opportunity where the Chinook numbers are going to be what they are. But the shining light here is that we should have a full-on, opportunity to go after these Chinook in a number of these fisheries that typically close down substantially early based on pressure against coho numbers.
And possibly not have the one fish limit like we've had in the past.
Correct.
Because people go, I'm not going to Buoy 10 for one coho. Right. So now have two coho and a Chinook as an option, or just have two coho. The best days I had at Buoy 10 this last season were the late coho days when there was nobody out there.
Yes.
And it's a little eerie. It's eerie when you're at the checkerboard and you look around. And you don't see anybody. And you're catching fish left and right. 2
weeks ago, there was 4,000 boats here.
That's right. And
now
you think,
nobody.
there's something wrong. But
that's got to be illegal.
That would make that fishery even better and not have it closed so soon and maybe not even have a wild or hatchery, disclaimer, just everything to coho. There's plenty of them, and go for it. That's
so
good.
That'll make the charters happy too. I mean, we'll see what the ocean produces and where we land. So all those numbers, and North of Falcon here starts right at the end of the month. Next week, matter of fact, when we're doing our show, is the forecast meeting that day for WDFW, or the Friday after, excuse me. Next Thursday, Grays Harbor will kick off their numbers. They'll be putting those out. Following day is a statewide Friday, the 29th, I think. So 26th. If you're doing nothing on Friday the 26th, turn your computer on, zoom in, listen to all the regions, the directors, the fishery managers, and everybody giving their proposals on preseason forecasts. All that will be coming out. Some articles have already been pushed out there to kind of give you indications. That being said, the factual numbers of what they'll set seasons to will be coming out on the 26th. Everybody gets pretty excited about that. I'm looking forward to that because I really want to see how these things are gearing up and what we get to look forward to. By the way, before we stop talking about fish returns and numbers, the Springer outlook continues to look better and better. We had Bill Monroe Jr. on a few weeks ago. He's talking about the possibility of a lower river opportunity open down around below Cowlitz and Cathlamet area. It looks like, because we should have just about 3,000 springers to go after between Buoy 10 and Bonneville, that between the Buoy 10 or Lower Columbia and Bonneville. We may have, based on the numbers coming back to Cowlitz and whatnot, we may have that lower river opportunity, which would be great. Spreads out pressure, gives you even longer opportunity to go after them. Pretty lucrative. We should see the model suggests to have a 7-day-a-week fishery, which would fill 98% of the lower river quota through April 4th. So the month of March could be pretty productive depending on water temperatures and if those fish truly show up.
Yeah.
Right?
April 4th is really early for that to be the projection.
You hope for an extension.
Yeah, well.
It's something we're going to keep an eye on. We're going to keep you guys all abreast and informed as to how this thing materializes and what numbers they actually start producing as this will start happening. In the next few weeks, you're going to start seeing folks with pictures of springers hitting the social media. So, a couple things before we jump out for our first break and invite our first guest. We got Bryan Bell on. When we do come back after that first commercial break, professional walleye angler. Him and Buzz Ramsey, we had slated for last week. Bryan, we're going to talk to you about walleye fishing in the Upper Columbia Tri-Cities area. We also had Buzz finally, because he's retired, he has time for me now.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Right? So he is going to grace us with his presence via phone, because it's kind of a long drive from Klickitat. But we have some really good information to go over with Buzz. He's really carrying the flag and a huge proponent on this ideology of lower Snake River Dam removal. Again, we were supposed to talk about this last Thursday as some articles had come out. It's really starting to generate discussions once again in regards to this, and because of Snow and me absent. So we postponed those two individuals for a week, and they are gracious enough to join us tonight on those particular topics. Plus, we got Bill Herzog to jump on and recap our Rufus Woods outing and kind of how it's been fishing the last couple days. Tons of pressure, way more fish being removed from that body of water than historically. And guess what? Fishing's starting to get a little tough, right?
It does, yeah.
That's what happens when you remove them all out of the fish tank. So, with that, a quick shout out to the Dead Worm Fishing Group. Huge thanks to those guys. They've been very interactive with us here at Fish on Northwest as of late. Big shout out to Matthew and Kevin Gray, were the two gentlemen that took us fishing because my boat's not done yet. So they were gracious enough to give me and Tommy, and the Beard was running camera most of the time, and Herzog took us all, loaded us in the boat, took us out there, and we had a fantastic day. As you guys saw last week in the two-part video that we produced out of that outing with Matthew and Kevin, fantastic folks, plan to fish with them again. Just really, really genuine people over there on that east side. Can't thank them enough. And speaking of which, we have a number of dates coming up that we will be heading to the east side. We're going to be very busy over there with the Rufus Woods fishery, with the Lake Roosevelt, kokanee, triploids, and walleye, and of course Banks Lake. All of that is right there at your disposal. We're trying to make it easy and convenient for folks to come over there, either join us, because we will be planning an event here in the future. Want to make you guys aware. And also get over there on your own. I want you to look up via Facebook or just Google Skydeck Motel. Skydeck Motel, Nikki and crew over there will take care of you. Stay at the Skydeck, nice accommodations. Yeah, it's not, Fifth Avenue or whatever. It is the Skydeck Motel.
It is for that area.
It is for that area.
There you go.
It's a great little place. We love staying there. It's right at the hub of everything you need, and it's the staff is fantastic, and they're going to take care of you. If you call up and make reservations at the Skydeck, say you heard it here on Fish Hunt Northwest, they're going to give you a nice little discount on your room per night. The more you stay, the more you save. And as we get into even the busy season, you may find yourself being able to capitalize on winter rates during peak season. So you're going from 125 a night down to like 85 or 90 a night. So they're going to save you 25 or 30 bucks a night to go over there and stay at the Skydeck. So make sure you call up Nikki and or staff over there at the Skydeck Hotel. Tell them you heard it here at Fish on Northwest, and they're going to take care of you. All right, jump out for a quick break. Now that we got through all that info, I'm going to have Bryan Bell join us. I'm going to talk a little bit of, you like walleye fishing.
I do. I like Bryan also. I fished walleye with Bryan.
Yes, you have.
And we did those walleye seminars.
Right.
Those were so good.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I mean, all the information that we got from those seminars, we did those over on the east side.
Right.
And I mean, it was just from water temps to different colors.
Electronics.
The whole
how
thing.
You dial it in, how you find the
Johnny Candle was down there, and awesome guy.
Yep.
Walleye Pro. I learned so much just in those 2 days from him. That was a blast. So can't wait.
So Bryan Bell is going to join us, professional walleye angler. He also runs guided trips. If you are looking to dial your boat in or dial your fishery in relative to walleye fishing on the east side Tri-Cities, Columbia River, in his back door, just pay attention, get out your notepad, and you guys are idiots.
You knew when you said it.
It's a backyard. We'll have Bryan Bell on. He's going to walk you through it, and got some good info coming. Don't go anywhere. Quick 1 minute or so break. Jump out. We'll be back right here at Fish on Northwest. Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers, or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it.
At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda Outboard Package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts with services ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. Phoenix client management models are built on understanding our clients' security needs and responding with a tailored program that is best fit for them. Phoenix provides excellent customer service through well-trained, highly motivated security professionals. Recruiting highly qualified officers is the first step in building a strong team. Currently, we are comprised of 70% prior law enforcement and military veterans. If you are prior military or law enforcement, go to www.phoenixprotectivecorps.com and apply today.
Hey, welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest, Wayne England. Dave Calhoun in studio tonight, and on the phone, longtime acquaintance in the industry, friend, and somebody you fished with.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Bryan Bell, professional walleye angler and owner of Big Rod's Guide Service. Bryan, how you doing this evening, buddy?
Good, Dwayne. How are you and Dave doing tonight?
Hey, we're doing great.
We are having so much fun. I can't even tell you.
He can't feel the smile off his face. Yeah. Hey, so you're connected with Minn Kota, Cannon, Ranger Boats. You're out there on the professional walleye circuit. You got a number of events coming up. What's your next event you're attending, and where's it at?
Well, actually, the next event I'm doing is scheduled to be in the Tri-Cities this coming Saturday.
Oh, okay.
However, it's snowing again tonight, so we'll see if we can get on the water. But my actual first pro event is going to be in Detroit, Michigan. Starts April 8th.
April 8th.
So looking forward to that. It's off a little ways. But I'm fishing a new platform this year. It's a new walleye series, professional walleye series, actually. Different than the National Walleye Tour. It's called Head-to-Head Professional Walleye Fishing, or Walleye Series. And I'm really looking forward to it. They've invited the top 32 anglers in the country, and I'm not going to tell you I'm in the top 32 because I'm not. I'm actually 61st.
Oh, well.
But they went through the list, and guys had the opportunity to accept or decline, and they got to me, and I was number 31. So,
okay.
I feel very fortunate to be into this series. It's a little kind of innovative, but kind of stealing from Major League Fishing in the bass world as well. But I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of camera footage. We're going to be able to log on to Head-to-Head Fishing Facebook and watch us fish. We're going to have cameramen on our boat. They're cool. Actual Major League Fishing cameramen.
Oh, yeah.
With really nice cameras in there. So, and it's a catch, release, and record tournament. So there's no weigh-in at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But we all are doing an interview before the day starts, and we're all doing interviews after every day of tournament fishing. And then it's a 7-day long, or 7 day? Yeah, there's actually 7 days of fishing. So there's 3 days of practice. Actually 8 days. 3 days of practice, 2 days of a regular tournament where we are ranked by our weight. by how many fish, or no, it's weight, how many fish we catch and how many pounds of fish we catch. And then after 2 days of that, they take the top 8 guys that have caught the most fish in weight for the first 2 days of the tournament and seed us into a head-to-head bracketed tournament. So day number 3 of the tournament, the top seed number 1 will fish number 8, number 2 will fish number 7, number 3 will fish number 6, and 4 will fish 5. Everything that we've done for the first 2 days of the tournament gets thrown out and we start fresh. So if the guy in 8th place beats the guy that was in first place on the 3rd day of the tournament, the 8th place guy moves on, and the first place guy moves into the loser bracket.
Wow,
so
that's fishing.
You gotta be strong 2 or 3 days in a row.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's fishing.
Days 2 and 3 would be
absolutely.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, hey, let's dial in a little bit of what folks can expect here at home. So one advantage of jumping on board with you on your boat, getting out on the Columbia River area, Tri-Cities area, this time of year when folks are in pursuit of those trophy walleye, is 1, they get to fish with a professional angler. 2, they get to really take a look around and take notes on how you have your boat set up. And 3, they're going to learn some tactics and techniques that maybe they're not aware of. So let's talk about 3 or 4 things they can anticipate learning, not just enjoying a day on the water with you, but truly learning to expand their ability as a walleye angler. And whether that's reading electronics, water, all those things. What's important? What's your top 3 that folks need to take away when they spend a day with you?
Probably the top 3. It doesn't matter electronics you're running, or even what level of electronics you're running. Probably my top tip is going to be keep a journal. Keep a journal. Record the daily conditions, the water conditions, the water temperature. Record your waypoint and make a waypoint every time you catch a fish. And then record, how fast the boat's going, whether you're sitting still on spot lock or anchored, or whether you're trolling and moving or drifting with just the current, whatever it may be. And then record the lure, the technique that you're using. Keep that log. It's amazing. After you do it for a few years, you'll be able to go back and say, okay, I'm fishing water temperature that's 39 degrees. When's the last time I fished 39-degree water temperature in this area? And you can go back and look at the areas you fished and get the technique you used to be successful. And it's kind of a funny thing. If you repeat that, you'll be successful again. That's probably the most important thing to take. And I really stop and write down every fish I catch. Second is, for me, is probably that electronics piece. Mm-hmm. And being the Humminbird guy, that one boat system, network system, is crucial to me. When I find my fish, especially the ones I found for this tournament, I'm going to use my Humminbird depth finder that's linked to Minn Kota, a trolling motor in the front, and I'm going to tell that Humminbird or that Minn Kota to look at my Humminbird unit basically and follow a contour line. And as long as I stay on the contour line, we here the last week or so been in some really good fish. If we get off that contour line, then we seem to lose the fish. The fish can disappear. So it's crucial to stay on that contour line. And when I do that, it's basically set the boat in autopilot, and I don't have to do anything anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can concentrate on fishing and not controlling the boat. Because we all know boat control is and that's probably the number 3 thing on my list that you'll take away from fishing with me is boat control. Mm-hmm. I spend a lot of time paying attention to my boat control. Dave's fished with me, not so much walleye fishing with me, but he's been salmon fishing with me, and he knows how anal I am with boat control.
Right.
Yeah, and by the way, we did get a live one on television, so there was that.
Oh, that was,
While we were talking, we ended up putting a salmon in the boat, and it was amazing, and we had talked about trying to put that together, which is not easy. But wanting to come up there and fish with you and doing the Walleye University that we did, are you going to be doing that when the whole world comes off of this COVID thing
gets back to normal?
Is that something that's planned for later this year, maybe?
I don't know that we have one for later this year, but yes, we're hoping to put something together for 2022, and we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to try and hit several different cities in the Northwest. Instead of doing a 3 or 4 day school like we do, we're going to see if we can't do a 1 day in the classroom, not go out in the water, just stay in the classroom and just spend 1 day really going through stuff very, very thoroughly. So we're going to make sure that everybody in that class understands each technique, how to use your depth finder. We're going to have several depth finders available, thanks to Humminbird and Johnson Outdoors. So we've got some cool things coming. It's probably not going to hit 2021.
Well, if it does come next year, I'm going to put this out here now and for people to look it up. I learned more, not about catching walleye. I mean, you can say, oh, try this stick bait, or this is my favorite, worm grub, or whatever. The stuff that we learned was things like how to run your depth finders, your optics, and all that stuff, how to adjust the sensitivity for this so you can see when those fish are hanging there. Then we talked about water temps and what color works good and at this depth. And I mean, there was so much we got in depth on there. I got more out of the classroom and all the information we got than I did from the out on the water stuff, just fishing. So it was a great program, and I learned so much about all that stuff. And so if someone has a chance to do that, whenever you get that rolling again, I can't recommend it highly enough.
Or if they don't,
we'll let everybody know.
Yeah, and if you don't, if it doesn't come together, the opportunity still quasi exists. You book a day with Bryan in his boat.
That's it.
That's right.
That is a floating classroom. I mean, you are so forthcoming with information. Persons who book a day with you in your boat and going to come out and have a great time because you're a great dude to hang out with, they're going to learn a ton of information. If they don't learn something, it's because they didn't ask, right? So
or they didn't pay attention.
Or they didn't pay attention, right? There is that, right? So the ability to come out and target walleye in these colder conditions, and you explain the progression through from now till early spring, where these fish will pattern, the type of structure you should be, seeking out, how to rely on your electronics. As you mentioned, one of your top priorities is boat control, speed. This time of year, I remember our conversation here a couple weeks ago. It is almost at the point of trolling for sockeye. I mean, we're less than 1 mile per hour in some of your fisheries, aren't you right now, Bryan?
Correct. Yep. Between 0.6 and 0.8 miles an hour is how fast I'm trying to run the boat. And sometimes the current is going faster than that. So I need to, again, it's all about boat control. So I need to slow that boat down so that I can stay in that speed. You're right. I have several people that are booking trips with me right now. They're asking me when my tournaments are coming up. Because I am fishing some local tournaments around here. Like I said, I've got one Saturday. There's one the end of March, and I'll be up on Potholes the first weekend of May.
Okay.
And several people are asking if they can come and book a guide trip while I'm pre-fishing for those tournaments because they want to see how I pre-fish.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly, I'm fine with that. Dave laughs at it, but tomorrow, I try not to do it the day before the tournament because tomorrow I'm going to go out and I may not even put a single rod in the water. I'm going to use those electronics and I'm looking for fish I've been on, which have been really good.
Right.
Making sure that they're still in those same spots. If they're still in the same spot as they were midweek last week, I know I'm going to catch them. I know how to catch them. I know how we caught them last week. With the snow that we've had, almost 30 inches of snow that's on the ground since last Thursday night. There haven't been a whole lot of people else, so I've always been pestering those fish. And if they're in the same spot, boy, I'm licking my lips. I can't wait for Saturday morning to come and we can put some fish in the boat.
That is a pretty stealthy tactic and technique there. It's like you're going to go out there. If you mark those fish that you marked a week or so ago and they're still there, there's no need to disturb them because, as you said, they have not been pressured. Nope. They're still hanging in that same general vicinity, and you know what it takes to get them in these cooler temps and the water depth you're looking at. So whether you're on the troll or jigging or whatever you're going to do.
And if you're releasing them right then, just make sure you release them right back on his spot and say, I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll cash in on that one again, right? I get it.
Yeah, so...
Well, yeah, if they'll bite. A lot of times you can what we call sore mouth them, so they won't even bite.
They won't bite for a couple days.
Professional, and we expect more from you.
Don't want to disturb that. For those asking, we're talking with Bryan Bell, professional walleye angler, owner and operator of Big Rod's Guide Service. And as he just alluded to, you can certainly get on Big Rod's Guide Service Facebook page or his webpage, book a trip with Bryan Bell, get out there on the walleye waters and enjoy your day, take home a ton of information. If you want to spend a day, hey Bryan, if they want to spend a day doing nothing but seeking out, looking for fish and trolling, you're going to do that. If they want to fine-tune their skills on blade bait presentation or some of the other types of jig presentations that you guys are utilizing now from other experiences, you're willing to spend a day instructing them on how to do that. Is that not correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So for this tournament this weekend, I have 6 worm harness rods, 6 lead cord plug trolling rods,
right?
4 I lost the word I'm thinking of. Well, I do have 4 blade bait rods, 4 swim bait rods, and then I have 4 trolling rods with just plain braid on that I can long line with. So I've got 5 different techniques that I've got all ready to go in the boat just for Saturday in case we need them. So yes, and I, depending on the boat that I take too. So I've got my Ranger tournament boat. I also fish out of a open sled as well. But if you're in the Ranger with me, we're going to have probably at least 6 or 7 different techniques set up to try and practice.
Nice.
I usually carry about 40 rods in the boat when I'm in.
Holy smokes.
That's another
when I'm
reason
in the
why I
guide
like
boat,
he needs fishing rods.
That's why I like Bryan. He takes enough rods to get the job done. Yes, I like that.
Hey, we're about to come up here against the break, but before you go, you mentioned it to me last week on the phone, and you just kind of slipped it in there a minute ago. Real quickly, if you could, just kind of give us an idea on the benefits of fishing that leaded line that you've become so fond of, and that's been working for you the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's really been a game changer for me. You can do so many things with lead core that you can't when you long line braid. I can go over humps, and if I get into shallow water, I speed the boat up, and the plugs will actually rise and lift without me changing anything, without having to reel up or adjust anything, just by speeding up the boat. And then if I slow the boat down, the lead core drops right back down into that trough, into that depth that I had set. So, again, boat control can affect a lot of things, but it's a lot easier for me to speed the boat up on the the other thing it does is it follows the boat. So when we make it turn,
hey, Bryan, it's breaking up really bad. All of a sudden, we got a bad connection. So if you're out there waxing your boat or moving around, it's starting to break up.
At least it waited till the end.
Yeah, at least it waited till the end. We're getting pushed up against a hard break here. So we, want to thank you. Appreciate you jumping on with us this evening. Hopefully, it was insightful for folks as it was for Dave and I. And folks want to get a hold of you. Big Rod's Guide Service, either website or Facebook page, or what other information you want to throw out there for them?
BigRodsGuideService.com, at him or at Bryan Bell Fishing on Instagram, and Bryan Bell Pro Angler on Facebook.
Gotcha. All right, buddy. We'll stay in touch. We'll be following you on the tournament circuit this year into the spring, and good luck out there, man. Hope you do well.
See you, pal.
Sounds good. Hey, Dave, I think we actually caught 2 fish live on TV, if you remember right.
I did. I didn't want to brag. That's a humble brag. Yeah, we got 2. But
first time for everything. Yeah. All right, Bryan, take care. We'll be in touch.
All right.
Thanks, man.
See you, buddy.
We'll see you. Good guy to hang out with, and a hell of a fisherman.
There's so many good stories, and I'll tell you, from a guided standpoint, I always say this: the true character of a guide is that day you don't catch any fish.
Right?
Did you still have fun? I'm not saying that about Bryan. Okay, I'm saying that in general.
Yes,
he is generally a nice, fun guy,
Yep.
and every time I go out with him, we have stories. They're always good. He's just one of those guys that if someone says, "Hey, I want to go have a fun day," he's who I would send to Eastern Oregon.
Yes, absolutely.
Or Eastern Washington.
All right, we are running a bit late, no big deal. Jump out for a quick break. We come back. We're going to dial up our good buddy, a longtime friend, Bill Herzog. I'm going to recap our Rufus event a couple weeks ago. Get you all dialed in, and we'll jump into the bait lab a little later on and fine-tune your skill set with proper technique and presentation. We'll jump into all that right after this quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Be back in about a minute and a half or so right here at Fish on Northwest.
An Outdoor Emporium is the largest local outfitter in the Northwest since 1975, providing thousands of people affordable outdoor gear. This summer, make your next outdoor adventure more affordable by shopping at our warehouse-style pricing. We are a local Scotty dealer, offering sales, service, and repair. Located in Fife and Seattle, come visit us today. The outdoors await you.
It's easier than ever to browse homes and connect with an agent on the go with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate's mobile app. With the app, your home search is synced across all of your devices, so you can pick up your home search anytime, anywhere. Take full advantage of an enriched, mobile-optimized map search experience. Use location services to quickly find homes near you that match your search criteria. Draw your own map boundaries to find homes in a specific area, and apply layers to view school districts, neighborhoods, zip codes, and more. The app's user-friendly design makes it easier than ever to find a home you'll love. Narrow down your search results, save your search criteria, and save your favorite homes. You can browse your saved homes in a list view that puts photos and key details like price and square footage right at your fingertips. Or check out your saved homes displayed on the map.
Yep, for sure. Oh yeah, big fish. Yeah, buddy. Nice fish. Oh, beauty. Gorgeous fish.
Bobby's on the board.
We got a good one.
Oh yeah.
Whoa,
that's good. Oh, oh, geez, come on.
Nice fish. Nice fish.
All right, welcome back, Fish on Northwest. Wayne England, Dave Calhoun in studio, trying to reach Brother Bill, long lost Brother Bill. Not answering the phone, go figure. Well, maybe he'll call. You know, there is an opportunity. He may actually dial up and call. I'm not going to try calling him again. That's twice, 2 strikes, you're out in this league. There's no crying at baseball. So, a couple things going on. So, in recapping our Rufus Woods outing, those fish are raised in a pen. They're raised for commercial sales throughout the world. They're restaurant quality table fish.
This is the Rufus trout we're talking about.
These are the triploids, right?
The big ones.
So you can go over to Roosevelt, catch triploids on the troll, and we're going to do that the weekend of March 6th. We're scheduled to jump over there with our buddy Troy Black, and we're going to go after big kokanee, winter kokanee, and we're going to fish for triploids in Roosevelt as well. They're more of a normal-looking trout, right? These Rufus Woods beasts are not a normal-looking trout. They resemble more of a sunfish in that they're about this long and about
that wide. There's a fishery in Oregon that is exactly like that, Crane Prairie. Mm-hmm. They call them crane bows.
Right.
And they look like a football because they're little on the ends and they're big in the middle, and they are delicious to eat.
So they raise these in pens. The Colville Nation does, and they distribute and sell them all over the world. And WDFW purchases upwards of 20 or 30,000 a year, and they plant them in the Rufus Woods Reservoir, which is 51 miles long. There are different locations of net pens. There are different areas you can fish. If you watched our video last week, you're going to see that we were actually fishing in and around the pens, which most people do. And there's a reason for that. Those fish, although released and outside jail, they know where they get their food source. And talking with the locals, talking with Matt and Kevin, they remind you of the simple fact that this time of year, your natural production of feed, your protein sources are almost non-existent because of the cold weather. So the trout migrate to where they know the food's going to be, and the food's going to be where the dinner bell goes off. And the dinner bell goes off when you're standing in a boat fishing and the hopper house on top of the hill starts pumping krill pellets down the pipe. And then it travels through the pipe and it disperses out to the net pens, and it hits the nozzle at the middle of the pen with a little wheelie bird on the middle of it.
Yeah.
And it distributes the krill pellets, the high protein krill pellets.
Trout chow.
Right?
Yep.
To these trout who simply sit there like a vat of piranha and gorge themselves.
Piranha?
Piranha to where they almost can't even swim, right? I always used to say when we had all these triploids that flushed out on high water, when Army Corps of Engineers back in 17, 18, Herzog and I were talking about this, they had all these fish they released, and then they had extremely high flows that washed a ton of them over the Chief Joe Dam, which is the next dam down reservoir, and into the Brewster Pool. That was a year where you literally could go home with, I think it was like 16 fish you could limit. You could catch 10 triploids, you could catch your 2 Chinook, and you could catch your 4 sockeye.
Yeah, they want them out of there when they
wanted them out of there, right?
Right.
So people were like, well, where do you find your triploid? I'm like, don't get in the current seam. Don't look for your triploid on the treadmill.
Lazy.
Right?
Lazy.
They're
lazy.
going to be off, right? So the interesting thing about these fish is that they hunker down in and around the net pens this time of year because that's where the food source is. And when they flow water, and I'll get into this a little bit later in the jig presentation, when they flow water over the dam, through the dam, they increase current speed. And you can literally, over a morning of fishing, 4 to 6, 8 hours, you're gonna watch your current speed change. And Tommy coined it best. I mean, the net pen structure in and of itself, and they're huge. It is a floating structure, and that is a floating structure in a mass in the current that the current has to actually find its way around or through. So the current speed changes up river of the dam of the floating mass, and down below the net pens. You'll find current seams. You'll notice when the current is picking up. We had a few hours out there that morning that the wind really kicked up. All of this changes your ability for boat control and presentation. Weight of jig that you're tossing, rate or speed of fall that the jig is actually dropping into the targeted area where the fish are suspended. We didn't rely on it much, but if I'm over there, I'm going to rely on my electronics to tell me exactly where those fish are suspended. I'm going to gauge my current speed, and I'm going to put an appropriate weighted jig on that finds its way down in a suspended area of fish that gets that keys in on a reaction, right? Yes, they're eating krill pellets, and you can use bait. You can use, Potski's fire bait and drop that down over the side of the boat and wait for one of them things to chomp it. Now, if it's a 16-inch trout, you're going home with a 16-inch trout. Because with bait, the first 2 you catch, you must retain. With jigs, artificials, any type of non-bait, non-scent, you can catch and release fish all day long. Now, that being said, some days they bite better than others. Talking with Bill here this last week, him and Brad Wagner were up there, I believe, again yesterday. They settled for a few fish, not as many as they were accustomed to. Bill summed it up to, well, yeah, there's a little flow change with snow melt and things going on. Water clarity is unbelievable. You got 15 plus feet of visibility. It's amazing.
How deep is it where these pens are? I mean, is it super deep?
So those pens are suspended and anchored with chains and cables in water that is 70 to 75 feet. The fish are suspended 30 to 35 feet up. Okay.
Well, because when they feed those feeders in the nets, they're whacking the surface. I mean, they're just going crazy.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy who made a fly basically with a pellet body. It was brown hair, whatever, made it and then put crazy glue on it to seal it. And what he would do is he would throw that into the area like a feeder and boom, fish on, right? So if you have to take a jig and run a jig 35 feet down, why not do a brown head jig that looks just like whatever the pellet is and try and target the food source, which is what they probably are eating.
So Bill has a lot of patterns that are brown. You can go figure. Jordan tied up a handful, the beard, Jiggling Jigs tied up a handful, but black works very well. Black and white works very well, contrasting colors. I'm going to get into jig presentation, technique, and type of gear to use later on in the next hour. But that is a valid point. And so if you are also using like Potski's firebait, chartreuse always works well for trout, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where I've gone fishing for trout, whether they're regular planters or holdovers or triploids. The chartreuse or the dark green tends to work really well. Feed pellet brown, oddly enough, works pretty darn good.
Yeah, but you're talking about the live bait and got to kill the two or whatever.
Right, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, making your own jig like he does.
But it's a good alternative. Definitely have bait in your boat because they don't always bite well.
Right.
Okay, and if you're not getting them on artificials and you've put in 3-4 hours and it's one of them miserably cold days, you probably want to get your 2 trout and get out of there. And bait is going to be your ally if, in fact, you can't get them on artificials.
Right.
Now, we just happened to hit a day where, I'm not saying they were snapping, we hit about a 2 to 3 hour window where all of a sudden the bite came on. It has to do with increase or decrease of current flow. It has to do with Matt's ability to control the boat, which he did an exceptional job, and getting your presentation in and around the area where those fish potentially congregate. Now,
well, also maybe figuring out the feeding schedule. If those fish are usually eating at 4 o'clock because that's when that timer goes off every day, maybe that's the time.
It's pretty easy to figure out because when you're there and it's feeding time.
That's what I'm saying. Was there any correlation between the time that thing went off?
The bite got better after they were done feeding.
There you go.
Those fish basically position themselves downstream of the pens because not all the feed gets consumed. And so it's going to fall through the net. Now,
does it look like Buoy 10 when this is going on?
No, I mean, there's a number of boats around there, but it's a huge reservoir, and there's other areas, guys troll for them, and there's,
And there's multiple pens, correct?
There's multiple pens.
I've never been there. I'm asking all these questions because I've heard about it a million times.
Now, guys are like, that's just stupid. It's like, shooting fish in a barrel. Well, it is what it is. First of all, the fish are there. The opportunity is there. You get to keep 2. Everything we caught was between 7 and 12 pounds. They taste amazing.
Yeah.
You will definitely go back once you've sunk your teeth into them because they're right up there with Springer. I am not kidding.
Yeah,
they are amazing. So, and the fishery is what the fishery is, and you can make it fun. Light gear, and I'll show you later on. We're using Okuma 2 to 6 pound, 8.5 foot trout rods. Okay. There's a method to the technique and how you present the jigs. There's just a lot of benefit to these types of fisheries. It's definitely a put and take fishery by WDFW. It's received way more pressure this year than ever, simply because lack of opportunity for a lot of other things.
Right.
There's a lot of us Westsiders heading over there to take advantage of this, and rightfully so. Are the locals happy about it? Not so much. But this is one of those things where I go, why then? This is proven its value in the industry. Okay, Herzog accounted several weeks ago. We were talking about this. One day they had 70, 75 boats at the one launch we're using there at Seaton's Grove. That is like unheard of. But if you build it, they will come. Now, how about we take 15,000 of those big fatty triploids and plant them in American Lake, or a bigger body of water up north, and maybe one down low further south? How about 3 lakes here on the west side that WDFW can take? It'd have to be lakes that have no links to any waters that would drain to potentially interfere with anadromous fish. That's pretty simple to do. And you can control that type of fishery. They're already planting triploids in certain lakes. Smaller numbers, smaller fish. We want the token. We want the table fare, amazing, pick that thing up and grease running down to your elbows.
Yeah, you used to get 10, 6, or 8 inchers out of somewhere.
You know what? Give us the opportunity on these bad boys.
Yeah.
Time to start making some phone calls. Time to start getting a hold of WDFW. Say, hey, why is it only on the east side and in that reservoir? Is there not possibility? I haven't talked to any fisheries biologists, and they may tell me I got a screw loose, but triploid trout or triploid trout, and they're raising them over there to monstrous size.
What we do is we talk them into taking every steelhead and salmon run that they don't do anymore and using those facilities and that energy into bringing trout into the lakes.
The only outcome that was positive with COVID is license sales are up tremendously.
Yeah.
Gear is in short supply. Manufacturers are finally starting to catch up almost. WDFW, if you want to continue to put fisheries out there that people will flock to, with our anadromous fisheries going in the toilet, now I say that on the heels of 1.7 million coho.
No, that's not the bogus number anyway.
But year in and year out, when we don't have to rely on ocean conditions and out migrants.
And lawsuits.
And all the things that are fighting and predation and birds and pinnipeds and all the topics we discuss here on Fish on Northwest, and you want to give destination opportunity, let's start planting some of those monstrous triploids, and also let's start having that serious conversation about when they begin to experiment with triploiding those kokanee.
Well, and the coho, like they do in Rife Lake, that's another fishery.
You can plant those freshwater
unbelievable.
coho. Freshwater Chinook,
good.
like Lake Chelan,
yeah.
Coeur d'Alene. 25,
30-pound Chinook caught in the lake.
We need to diversify our fisheries because Washington State is going to be nearing population of 8 million. And there's no way these anadromous fisheries are going to keep up. We need to give them a break. We need to encourage people to continue to purchase licenses. We need to support their willingness to do so. We need to give them fisheries to go do. And this one over here, I'm telling you, Dave, you get a family out there on a lake that possesses these types of fish, and there are some, I get it, there are some here on the west side, little hidey holes and whatnot, that a handful of folks know about, and you go get these big fish. More so at the beginning of the year in trout season with some of these lakes.
If you go to the website, they tell you.
Exactly.
They give you those numbers. They say, oh, in this lake, they just planted 2,000 of those fish. And I think maybe people don't realize how big these fish are. These are trophy fish. 8-pound rainbow is an awesome fish. I've caught way too many steelhead that aren't 8 pounds to really appreciate a fish like that.
An 8-pound triploid tastes so much better than a steelhead.
Yeah, and throwing around the lake instead of having to beat the banks and 500 guys, I mean, it makes sense for so many reasons.
Yeah, so this isn't your grandpa's trout fishing, okay? And with that, we're going to jump out for a quick break. We come back, we're going to get the sensei himself, Mr. Buzz Ramsey. Needs no introduction, but great topics of discussion coming up with him. If you haven't heard, there was some discussion previously about removal. And actually, I'm going to be honest, when this first hit out there, Dave, about discussions of removing dams off the lower Snake River, I thought, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You can't just go in and remove these monstrous dams, right? You gotta put it in perspective, and you gotta begin to do a little digging, and that was me. That was my ignorance saying this doesn't even make sense. Really, if you drill down on it, start doing some research, recognize that collectively, we'll get into this with Buzz, but collectively, you start controlling predation, avian and pinnipeds. You start putting in measures for more selective harvest. You increase flows to increase outbound smolt migration. You do all these things collectively. They still potentially don't equal the benefits you would gain by opening up these lower Snake River. And we're talking the 4 lower Snake River dams in Washington State. And we're talking about the earth portion removal of these dams, okay? And so there's a huge plan that's been unveiled, and we're going to get into that with Buzz.
Okay.
We'll get into all that with Buzz. We'll get him on the phone. He will answer. We're going to jump out for a quick break. We come back. Buzz Ramsey, right here at Fish on Northwest. Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21-foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
New days, new beginnings, new friends, new loves, new dreams, new goals, new scenery, new job. No matter what the next chapter holds, Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate will be there to help you find the new that's right for your lifestyle at any stage of your life. Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. Expect better.
Hey, welcome back. Fishing on Northwest of New England. Dave Calhoun in studio. First time, finally landed him on the phone. Of course, had to get him to retire to find time.
Yep, and he said he's busier than ever.
He's busier than ever. Buzz Ramsey, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very well.
Good to finally get you on the show. So tonight's topic versus all those years we spent on radio together and talking so much about different fisheries and buoy tin and Columbia River opportunities and steelhead fishing, all those things we love to talk about. This is another topic that you've become a little passionate about, and I respect and appreciate your compassion. It kind of begins with Congressman Mike Simpson unveiling a plan he has in regards to removal or partial removal of the Lower Snake River dams, the 4 dams on the Lower Snake in the Washington area. For some folks, that just seems like absolutely ridiculous concept. For many others, myself included, it begins to start making a whole lot more sense. So kind of start breaking that down for us, Buzz. What kind of sense does this make to you?
Well, here's maybe we need a big picture view first of this. If you looked at the Columbia River watershed as a total, about half of salmon's historic range has been blocked by dams. So those areas are blocked off. That habitat is gone, and there are some efforts to try to truck or however put some fish up into some of those areas, but the chance of them really recovering in those places is pretty grim. But of the habitat that remains in the Columbia, half's blocked by dams, but the habitat that remains, 70% of it is in Idaho. About 5,500 miles of rivers and spawning tributaries, of which about 10, 12, about 10 to 12% of that is pristine because of national forest land and wilderness area. Mm-hmm. So the most and the best habitat remaining for salmon in the Columbia River watershed is in Idaho. And the reason those fish are struggling, because there's great habitat up there, the reason they're struggling is because of the dams. It's not that any one dam is so bad. It's the cumulative effect of too many.
Right.
And a lot of times biologists talk about the smolt to adult ratio. For fish, for example, that pass the 4 dams on the lower Columbia, Bonneville, The Dalles, John Day, McNary, those salmon can have a 3 to 4% smolt to adult ratio. But when you stack on the impacts of 4 more dams, Idaho, stocks of salmon and steelhead in Idaho, the smolt to adult ratio, it varies a little, of course, depending on how much flow, how much snowpack and water pushes them to sea, and what ocean conditions are like. But it's averaging 1% or so.
Right.
And they cannot self-sustain at that rate. So we're watching, all of us are watching, the slow degradation, really, of those stocks going to Idaho. So, and, I mean, I was 14 years old when they closed summer Chinook fishing on the Columbia River, and it didn't reopen until 2002. So Now, that was a disappointment to me as an angler, but it was also a disappointment to me as trying to work for a fishing tackle company, and we had to put that portion, they had to put that portion of their business on hold for 29 years.
Yeah.
So this hasn't exactly been fair to the sport fishing industry. We've been on the losing end, frankly,
right,
as the salmon have been. The other thing people need to understand is, I mentioned, it's not that any one dam is so bad, it's a cumulative effect. So what happens when these fish migrate through the dams, as you might know, Dwayne, is first off, they need flow to push them between the dams, because they don't have the energy to swim to the ocean, so they face into the current, and essentially they back troll to the ocean. And then when they get to the dam, they go where the water goes. So if all the water is going through the turbines to make hydropower, the mortality can be 10 to 12% at each dam. So times 8, whoa, you're in trouble. And that's why the target is kind of on the 4 lower snake dams. They offer the least benefit, although still substantial, to the region, and they're just too much of that cumulative effect. So what Simpson has really done is charted a path forward where everybody would be taken care of with his proposal, to where, I mean, when we talk about breaching those dams, it's what the plan is to remove the earthen portion.
Right.
I guess theoretically, if you didn't like salmon recovery, you could put the dirt back.
Yeah, good point.
But I think to breach those dams, I mean, this is over a $30 billion proposal he's come forward with.
Yeah, it's a hefty price tag for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you look at it from a stimulus standpoint, because of course the timing right now is that the federal government is looking at an infrastructure and jobs stimulus package after the COVID thing.
Right.
It's only a small percentage of the programs that they're talking about. The cost to breach is only $1.8 billion, but the rest of that, I think it's $33 billion roughly, involves improving the transportation. Lost power. Power replacement, power grid, improving the power grid.
Right.
Advanced energy storage and research. Take care of, I think one of the dams is irrigated out of, and there's money for that too. They can pump the water out of a river. Doesn't have to be out of a lake or reservoir. So everything is in this plan, and to me, what I like about it most, it keeps everybody whole.
And by that, Buzz, you mean, and credit to Congressman Simpson and you just kind of touched on it all. By removing the dams, I mean, it's a huge boost in salmon and steelhead recovery, and we can't get there if we don't take some drastic measures. And this would be, at the top of the list on drastic measures. Secondary to that, when you're talking about keeping everybody whole, the power generation is deferred to other existing dams or structures. The irrigation is compensated for via other means. The commerce downriver in transport of commerce is then shifted to rail or truck. So everybody is kept in the loop. Everybody is made whole. Nobody's just going to be like, well, sorry, we're pulling the plug on your project and you guys are done. There's not a lick of information out there that would indicate that there's going to be a whole lot of losers in this entire thing.
Well, you're exactly right, Dwayne. And the thing about it is, it's my belief that, now I'm just speaking from my own self, is that those that might be affected, if they work with Simpson and through the administration on this concept, embrace the idea of, hey, we're gonna recover salmon and we're gonna take care of ourselves and on into the future. With this infrastructure package, those are going to be the biggest winners.
Right.
Well, the people that stand by and drag their feet, well, I'm not saying they're going to be left out. They certainly wouldn't be, but it's not going to be as good as if they got in there and really talked about what if.
Well, and the thing that I noticed, which was actually made me think this would actually happen, was they were talking about what it costs to maintain and retrofit some of these older dams. Mm-hmm. And when they look at the cost of operation and what they need to do to get to certain levels of acceptance and things they have to do, it's almost cheaper for them to get rid of them anyway.
Sure.
So if they can make it to where it's profitable for them, they can get out of a situation that they would have to spend money to retrofit and change. It makes sense for everybody, and that's how it has to happen. Otherwise, it won't happen.
Well, and Buzz, you keyed in on a couple points there too. As it relates to increase in survivability of our salmon and steelhead runs, and what can we do to turn this around? Collectively, it's been proven now. I mean, let's face it, we've had a ton of studies going on various levels, whether it's smolt or adult return and percentages and to which area they're making it to or not, and the percentage of out-migrant survivability, the speed of which the water travels between dams, depending if they're flowing or not, the regulations imposed by a judge to stipulate you will increase flow, to increase outbound smolt survivability. I mean, we've listened to this stuff for years. And another one that caught my attention here last year was they finally finalized an 11-year study on predation, bird predation, from the confluence of the Snake River on the Columbia all the way down to the Astoria area. In the bird predation, they've identified 14 recognized bird colonies that have an impact on out-migrant steelhead smolt to the tune of 70% impact. So, when you couple that with the interference of the dams, if we're losing 70% due to birds, and every dam that those smolt go past is another, depending if they're flowing or going through turbines, another 10%, is there any wonder why we're seeing maybe 10 to 15, on a good year, 20% of our out-migrant steelhead smolt making it out of the lower Columbia?
Yeah, well, all these issues are important when you talk salmon, whether it's predation. There's money in this for predator control. Money in his package for predator control. There's money in there, $700 million, I think, to upgrade the hatcheries. There's money in there for every basket to take care of a lot of these issues. It addresses every issue you can think of.
Sure.
And I'm sure if somebody brought another one forward, that would get addressed also. So, so
come up with something.
Yeah. One thing I didn't mention. I mentioned how if the fish go when these young small fish are going downstream, they go where the water goes.
Right.
So if the water is going through the turbines, they suffer heavy.
Yes.
It's not that any one dam's so bad. They suffer 10% mortality, roughly 10 to 12%.
Right.
If they go over the spillway, amazingly so, if they go over the spillway, the mortality is maybe 0 to like 2%.
Right.
Very low. So in the absence of it, the federal government, I think we're on our 5th or 6th federal plan to recover salmon. Because of the Endangered Species Act, the government has to come forward with a plan that recovers salmon. None of them have modeled out for recovery. Mm-hmm. And so, the sport fishing industry and the environmentalists and other groups, they sue, they win, and then the next administration comes out with a plan, and it's as bad or worse than the one before.
Right.
So nobody has we just in this big stalemate, and we got this brings an opportunity. This represents an opportunity to recover salmon. And in fact, some of the data I'm reading, aside from this, Mike Simpson, Congressman Simpson, has been careful not to quote any numbers. But spring Chinook alone, they think. If this happened to the spring Chinook, and it would the adult run would vary, but it would perhaps average between 250,000 and 1 million spring Chinook going up the Columbia.
Oh,
if this happened,
right?
We would see recovery.
Yeah,
and it would depend on ocean conditions and flow and everything.
Yeah,
and but yeah, and gosh, look, right now, the fishery, it's amazing how, you know, we get to fish a little bit before the fish show up, and then the river closes.
We were just talking about that.
That's called fisheries management, yes.
He said April 4th is the date. I said, April 4th? They don't even get here till April 4th.
I know, but that's what they give us, and you're spot on. But I mean, to think we could have future conversations in the realm of, it looks like it's going to be a down year actually on springers this year. They're anticipating only 350,000. I mean, that would be a bad year, right?
Yeah.
So based on the numbers you just threw out. So guys would be drooling over that opportunity, and we would have fisheries extending well into May because of that opportunity. So I think finally they're getting their ducks or dams in a row, and they're looking at this from an everybody wins kind of standpoint. I'm glad to see it's you know, gaining some steam here. What information is out there that folks can kind of sink their hooks into and to find and start reading?
They can Google. They should. Everyone, you know, no matter where they are at this moment in their thinking, needs to just Google Mike Simpson's salmon plan.
Right.
Congressman Mike Simpson's salmon plan, and it'll pop up, and it's pretty detailed. You know, he's throwing these dollars into these baskets based on over 300 meetings he's had with different stakeholders where he's asked what if. I think the other thing about this, though, that I want to make sure and mention, and he mentions it here in his plan, is that, you know, one of the things that's been going on for the last, I've been watching this thing for, you know, my whole career.
Yeah.
And one of the things is that, and I've been thinking, gosh, if anything's ever going to get done, it's going to be because a federal judge is going to say breach those dams, or some lawsuit will go for the salmon. And what that would mean is, it might be good for salmon. It might mean those dams are going to go away, and it would thus be good for salmon. But it would leave all the stakeholders high and dry.
Sure.
I mean, where are you going to get the money to leave everybody whole?
Right.
So this plan takes that shadow away.
Yes.
To where we can, it's an effort to breach the dams, yes, but keep everybody whole and try to bring our iconic fish back to the region and strengthen not only the salmon runs, but the economies that go from Riggins, Idaho, all the way to the Gulf of Alaska. Wherever these salmon go, it would benefit all those communities.
Right.
It would be a unbelievable thing.
Yeah, you know, valid point, no doubt. This is the plan for people to get on board and support. This is the one for them to start taking action on. Not drag their feet, not force the hand of, you know, letting those groups and areas mentioned left behind, so to speak. It's time to get everybody in the think tank and working, you know, towards a positive outcome where everybody wins. You're spot on, Buzz. If this goes to litigation or a judge and they lay down the hammer, there's going to be a lot of folks left out on this thing, and that's the exact direction we don't want to see it go. So. Really good stuff, Buzz. Really appreciate you taking time to jump on with us tonight. Don't be a stranger. And you know, we got plenty of room here. So when you make the drive up finally one day and grace us with your presence on the show, we're going to jump in the boat, then get out on Puget Sound or something and go have some fun.
Well, that sounds like fun to me.
All right, buddy. Fantastic.
Hey, thank you very much, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Take care. We'll be in touch. All right. See you. Bye.
You bet. Bye. Bye, Dave.
Bye, buddy.
Buzz Ramsey, man, no stranger, and well known throughout the industry, and just a pillar. Right?
A wealth of information.
Just a little bit.
And every chance I get to fish with him, jump at the chance and just absorb. He has forgotten more than I'll ever know.
Yep.
And if you like tackle, if you like steelheading, if you like drift boating like I do, I mean, that's where you go. Answer all your questions.
Just all right there, one-stop shop.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, the Buzz Center.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
The Buzz Center.
Buzz Center. One-stop shopping. All right, jump out for a quick break. We come back. We're going to jump into the bait lab. Real quick tutorial how-to. Basic rigging and technique points on how to fish these jigs, these jingling jigs for the Rufus Woods triploids. You could probably use it in other areas as well. As long as you can get over the fish, find the fish suspended, they have a reason to be there. I don't know, like pellets falling from the sky.
I know what a concept.
You know, then replace your pellet, use a jig, and go after them. We'll jump out for a quick break and come back with the Bee in the Bait Lab right here at Fish on Northwest. Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21 foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
New days, new beginnings, new friends, new loves, new dreams, new goals, new scenery, new job. No matter what the next chapter holds, Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate will be there to help you find the new that's right for your lifestyle at any stage of your life. Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. Expect better.
Hey, welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. We are here in the Bait Lab for a how-to presented by Max Lure. Check out everything that you need relative to walleye, trout, kokanee, steelhead, and some salmon at maxlure.com. So, real quick recap on some of the gear we were using to find success over at Rufus Woods and actually twitching jigs for triploid rainbow. Sounds a little different. Sounds like something maybe you would reserve for steelhead and or obviously coho, but believe it or not, it works fantastic for these big trout. Credit to Bill Herzog. He's been doing it for a number of years. Handful of other folks have started twitching jigs as well. It's been something, I know the Dead Worm guys have been doing it for a long time, and it's basically, it comes down to current speed, as I had mentioned earlier, size of jig, color and presentation, exactly how you get them to chase after it. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about rod selection. We're using these 8.5 foot, 2 to 6 pound trout rods by Okuma, the Celio. Fantastic rod, not gonna break the bank. Really, really nice light trout rod to use for this type of fishery. Again, we're throwing jigs that are an 1/8 ounce upwards of 3/8. We took some 1/4 ounce jigs over there, or excuse me, some 1/2 ounce jigs over there, or no, 1/4 ounce jigs over there. Didn't really need them, didn't need to go that heavy. 3/8 was getting it done all day long when the river was moving at faster speed. So a nice little light rod like this, again, it's the Okuma Celio. It's an 8.5 foot, 2 to 6 pound. I spool that up on a 2500 series. These happen to be Daiwa reels. 2500 series reel, nice light little reel, holds plenty of line. Put on there 30 pound braid. Herzog likes to use nano fill. I stick with my braid. 30 pound, you don't need it for the overall strength. The diameter of 30 pound is so small that when it's a little bit windy and whatnot, if you go down to like 20 pound braid, that is so thin and gets whipped around by the wind so much, you're fighting rod tip wraps with your braid. I just try to eliminate all those problematic things that I know going into it. The wind does blow over there, so I'm going to spool up with 30 pound braid. I'm going to run a top shot of fluorocarbon, okay? And I'll use 12 or 15. I settled on 15 pound Maxima fluorocarbon, and I'm putting on a pretty good stretch a line. I go 3 arm lengths. That's going to be upwards of between 15 and 20 feet of 15-pound fluorocarbon secured to my braid for my top shot. Again, you heard me mention it earlier, the water is gin clear over there. You can see 15 plus feet down. So I don't want that high-vis braid anywhere near where that jig is going to be presenting down by the fish, because they see relatively well. So 15 to 20 feet, 15-pound fluorocarbon. Then I'm going to tie on a barrel swivel, and you know, we don't have to go extra large, extra heavy duty here. I got a size 10 and a size 7, and to be honest, a larger swivel really serves no purpose. I like to keep it lower profile, so I'm going to put on that size 10, and I'm going to secure onto that. I go with 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. So there's your break-off point, okay? And I'm going to secure 2 to 3 feet of 10-pound fluorocarbon to the barrel swivel to the 15-pound top shot. Okay, could simply tie that on, and I'd be ready to go. I'd be fishing. 2 to 3 feet of 10 pounds. So we've gone from 30-pound braid to 15-pound top shot fluorocarbon. Again, we want it to be extremely clear, and then down to a 10-pound. The reason I do that is when you are fishing in and around the pens, they are anchored to earth by massive cables and chains, and you can't always tell exactly where those are. You need to go over there with a good assortment of color variation, and we have a number of them here that we're producing very well. Purple haze, white snake is the black and white that I was using time and time again, and hooked a number of fish. It's got some flash in there. Again, these are jingling jigs. So we got white snake, purple haze, we got black magic. So these flat out got it done. I believe we hooked fish on every one of these colors, down to an 1/8 ounce, of which we have the, what did he call it, Freddy? So we got Freddy, which is a purple and red with some black in there. And then of course the Nightmare also produced. So 1/8 ounce will get it done when the water current is moving slow enough and they're not flowing a lot of water. You can gauge your current, and you can gauge the speed of fall of your jig. So an 1/8 ounce might be getting it done. When that water speeds up and you actually are throwing your jig out there, and as it begins to sink, you're noticing that it gets swept laterally out in front of you or behind you or wherever direction, depending on boat position and where it's landing, where that jig's going to get pushed, okay? And if it's moving laterally too fast and not getting down on a steady decline or a steady fall, that's when you want to up your size of jig. So you go to that 3/8. It seemed to get it done time and time again. The reason I go with that 10-pound, backing up to that particular comment, is because when you get that jig into that cable or that chain or whatever it is that it's going to wrap around, instead of breaking off your entire 15-pound, 15 to 20 foot top shot of fluorocarbon, you simply sever that at the somewhere in and around your barrel swivel or at your jig. It's going to get wrapped up on that chain or on that cable. You're going to lose that jig. You're going to lose maybe part of your little 2 to 3 foot leader of 10-pound. No big deal. You got a swivel on there, tie that leader section back on, tie a jig on, and you're back fishing. If you simply tie your jigs to your top shot, maybe you're running 10 or 12-pound top shot, and you wrap that jig up around that anchor or that cable, you potentially break off more than half your top shot. You break off maybe all the way at your knot, depending on which one you use, and you're going to spend more time out of the water than in. So 30-pound braid, 15-pound top shot, 15 to 20 feet in length, and then a 2 to 3 foot leader of 10-pound fluorocarbon right to your jig off a small size 7 barrel swivel. That's pretty much it. And again, stick with a lighter rod. If you have a 6 to 10-pound 9-foot steelhead rod, a side drifting rod, that's going to work really well, although believe it or not, it's a little too heavy for this fishery, even though you potentially are catching fish 10 to 15 pounds. There is no problem getting those triploids in on a 2 to 6 pound rod that is a 10 to 15 pound fish. You can do it all day long and have a blast doing it, and I recommend you do so. I would get out there and find these relatively low-priced Okuma Celio rods. Again, there's 8 to 6, 2 to 6 pound. Gets it done all day long. Spool yourself up with a 2500 series reel, and get on our website, www.fishhuntnw.com. Go to the online store, hit the shop here or shop now, and you're going to find all Jingling jigs, all Jingling jig selections. You're going to have all colors of the Rufus Woods opportunities with the purples, the blacks, the white heads, the various jigs on there, and they all worked really well. You can go out and buy other jigs, but I'm telling you, these are tried and true, tied on Gamakatsu hooks, and they work extremely well, and they're well worth the money. You even get some of the steelhead jigs. There's 10 different colors now, but over there are the producers, and you can see the similarities here. Every one of these has some black in there, okay? The black and whites, the black and reds, the black and purple. The UV head or the solid black head or the white, the contrast, okay? We're talking about contrast. These rainbow trout tend to, believe it or not, act a little bit like a steelhead sometimes, and we're getting them on jigs. Speaking of that, you're going to cast your jig out, especially like these 3/8 ounce jigs. You're going to cast them out about 30, 40 feet from the boat. And you're just going to let that thing sink, okay? Leave your bail open if you want to. Just let it sink. It's going to be on a steady fall. And then at a certain point, if you close your bail, it's going to start pendulum in towards you. And as that line goes a little bit tight, you can reel down a little bit and just give it a little jig. Reel down a little bit, give it a little jig, and you're going to slowly work that back towards you. What you're doing is you're in 70, 75 feet of water. You're casting out 30 or 40 feet. You're allowing that jig to fall. These fish, much like coho, much like steelhead, it's a reactionary bite. They're hitting it on the fall. So if you cast it out and allow it to fall down through the water column, you're going to get down to that area of where those fish are suspended. Rely on your electronics, read your electronics, see where they're at. Good electronics like our Ray Marine options, we can actually watch that jig cutting its way down through the water and see when it's in the zone, and then you can begin twitching. Or you can do the old-fashioned way, you go by feel, which works extremely well as well. So allow that jig to fall, give it some twitches, work it back to the boat, do it again, continue to cast in and around the floating structures, in and around that area where those fish pile up. If you're using electronics and you find a wad of fish out there away from the net pens, by all means, boat control, cast to them, let it get down to where they're at. If you have to go up to a 1/4 ounce, by all means do so. Have some in your arsenal, just in the event you're in a stretch of water that they're moving a little faster on any particular day, depending on how much water they're flowing. So I hope that kind of clears it up. Jig presentation is a great alternative there at Rufus Woods. It's going to get it done. You're going to go home with a couple of really nice fat triploids, and hopefully you have a really good time doing it. So we'll jump out for a quick break. Again, all these jigs and everything you see here you can find at fishhuntnw.com. Shop now and get your Jingling jigs. Okay, jump out for a quick break. We come back, we'll be in studio to close out the show with Dave Calhoun. Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. Defiance boats feature a 21 to 22 degree dead rise at the transom and a large reverse chine for incredible handling and stability offshore. Defiance boats are foam flotation filled and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Defiance boats feature fuel-efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defiance boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defiance Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Defiance Boats for all your boating needs, and let us help you get out on the water.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Phoenix Protective Corporation strives for excellence. Above all, Phoenix security officers are managed by leaders trained to inspire and encourage greatness. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts with service ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. We here at Phoenix are looking for highly motivated individuals to apply. If you're a vet, retired or active, and would like to work with us, please apply.
Welcome back, Fish on Northwest. Back here in studio as we close out the show. A couple points I got to bring up here, Dave, after that little presentation in there and Josh's coughing fit. Glad you're here tonight, buddy, but keep your Rona in the corner, pal. Lazy Bones identified to me that it's purple rain. What?
Purple haze is like weed.
I know. So his jig names, I'm still trying to get them down. It doesn't matter. They still work, and they work fantastic. So that is one point. The other one is old man Bill, he fell asleep.
Yep. Which is what we
missed
figured.
the phone call.
Yep.
Good thing it wasn't to win $1 million.
That's right.
Right? You know, so fell asleep. So looks like a lot of you picked up on some points relative to that presentation. Guys are chiming in, Dave, about sea lion removal and bird predation, all those other things. Again, it's not discounting all those things that need to be addressed relative to the Columbia River and smolt survivability and outmigrant and all those things. The sea lions are being addressed. We have a percentage of those that can be removed annually. The bird predation is finally being addressed on the cormorants. There is a percentage of those that can be removed annually. Now the dam conversation is coming up, more of a serious conversation amongst a lot of conservation groups and persons in positions of power to get things done.
Yeah.
So I looked at that as a positive. I wouldn't say they're just kind of blowing off all those other issues. The pinniped predation issue is long-standing.
We got to hit them all.
Yes.
Yes, and the Willamette is one of those rivers where them getting rid of the sea lions actually made a huge difference.
Especially on those wild steelhead.
Yeah, in that 1 year. It was like we had 400 come back, and that's what sounded the alarm, and I'm like, we've been yelling and screaming for 10 years, but it wasn't until it's finally almost dead that, oh, wait a second, let's get involved. So when they finally did that and they saw the numbers go up, that just really assured them that they were doing the right thing, and it made a difference for that 1 year of steelhead and for spring chinook. And then they slowly just kind of stop. They stopped doing it, and suddenly you're seeing more sea lions. You're like, it wasn't a one-time thing. We got to do it every year and really get rid of them.
Over the course of 18 months, they removed 33 sea lions. You're talking Willamette Falls.
Yes.
In the wild steelhead, and you're right, it was 300 or 400. Then the following year, 18 months later, actually, it bounced up to 3,200 fish.
Yes, 10 times, right?
So they definitely have that on record to prove the point, and it's one, as you're alluding to, they need to continue, and they should, and they will, as far as we've been led to believe. So we'll see where that goes. But anything as we walk down this line of fisheries management and trying to rebuild these fish runs, the amount of money that has been spent the last 30 years in recovery relative to just the Columbia River is a mind blow. And they'll continue to spend that again tenfold just simply by repeating what we're doing, because it's not working. And yet the numbers continue to go down, but they'll keep spending the money. So at some point you put a tourniquet on, you stop the bleeding, and you change course. And this dam removal is gaining steam. And to Buzz's point, into Congressman Simpson's credit, nobody's left behind. They're going to make it whole, and they're going to take care of all those. They pretty much got answers for almost all the questions I've heard. So it's encouraging.
Well, it's encouraging, and like I was saying earlier, the one thing that's really encouraging is that they realize that the dams are going to start costing them more than what they can do with the wind power, with solar stuff. I mean, at this point, they're selling power to California.
Sure.
And so if they can sell it cheaper and cleaner than these old dams and doing retrofit, that's when you'll see them really take them seriously. Not that they care about fish, but they care about money, and there's other ways to make money and not spend it. So I think dams are of the past, and that we're going to move into different ways that don't affect the fish, and then the fish will then be the bonus to that, but it won't be that they cared.
Won't be the Won't be the driver.
No, it won't be. It'll be money.
As long as I make my money, you can have your fish.
That's right. And once the money's working for the fish as opposed to against it. So.
All right, you got some fishing rods in front of you.
I do.
You are Dave Calhoun. You are Northwest
I have
Rods.
been for a while.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
And that's a new series of spinning rod you've just come out with? Or?
It is. So what I did was I was going to launch it at the Sportsman Show, and I know we haven't talked about that too much, but it's really sad what's going on in the world, and the Sportsman Show, which was my Christmas, birthday, New Year's, Halloween, it was all my favorite things in one place, and all my favorite people as we knew it, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them. My friends do that, and I want to do it, but until then, we have to do something else.
Do something.
And I was going to launch this at the Sportsman Show, and now's a good time to launch it. So what happens is, as a rod builder and a rod company, you're always trying to ride the line between performance and durability.
Yep.
You want to have the lightest, most sensitive rod, but you don't want to have something that's going to break all the time and have people losing their minds.
Yep.
So when you're building stuff, you're always trying to find that happy middle. Right? And so what happens is, as you start moving with different materials and things evolve, you go, well, I can go a little bit lighter. And then I want to get a little bit stronger. And I want to do this. And the first way of doing that was my Scorpion material. That's something proprietary to me for my salmon rods. And it's a special material. I'm the only one using it. And that's exclusive to me. But the little secret that a lot of rod companies don't talk about is that we're buying the raw materials from the same people. We have 2 or 3 companies that we can get these materials from, and you can tweak them a little bit here and there, and it's kind of like making cookies where you have a recipe of flour and sugar and all these things, right? So we're all buying materials from some of the same companies, and there's not a whole lot of difference between one or the other. And so I'm always looking for a new material and trying to do something new. And this is a new material. And this is, I was going to rename it something cool with an X or a Z or something in it. And then I thought, well, why don't I just use US1? No, don't start with that.
No Zima?
No, but this is new US1.
US1.
I like my US1.
Okay.
And I'm not going to stop doing the old ones because there was anything wrong with them.
Sure.
I've just found new material.
Okay.
So I thought, well, if I'm going to launch it, I want to do something different. New color. This color, it's not orange, it's not red, it's Northwest Rods is what it is. And just like the green, it's not just about being cool and color like a blaze orange.
Right.
It's really for 2 things. Number 1, when I'm out fishing and I've got a rod and a rod holder, I can see this high vis color, just like fish can with a lure.
Right.
So if it's dark and I'm in a boat with a top and I'm trying to see what's going on, whether it's a Pro Troll or just a plug rod, and I want to make sure things are working, you're going to see everything with this. And companies have been painting the tips of their rods for 40, 50 years.
Right.
I know guys that were dipping them in paint so they can see what's going on with their tip. When you're in the drift boat looking at rocks, you're looking at everything, you just see those things working and they're working. Well, same thing applies to any rod. Now, a float rod, you really don't need it, so there's kind of a cosmetic thing.
Sure.
But it's bright. I can see what's going on, and it's become kind of my signature is to have these bright, and it's a special color preserved thread.
Right.
So when this came on the market, I jumped all over it. So, new US1, new color scheme, new carbon fiber handles with a carbon fiber middle.
I like the taper on that too. This
is one of the only that's all carbon fiber handles that you can get. It's skeleton parts, meaning it's this part, this part, this part. There's 5 components that go into this handle. It's not easy. And it's something that I'm the only one doing, so it'll be just for me. So there again, so new handle, new blank, new color, launching the new US1. These are available now.
That is a 9.5 foot.
This is my number 1 rod for steelhead fishing, for anything from the bank, whether it's the peninsula to the little summer fish. 9'6", 8 to 17. I can bobber dog with it where that's legal.
Yeah. You can bobber walk with it.
Yeah, I could go to Oregon. In Oregon, this thing is legal. You
walking dogging.
Yeah, you go to the coast, and it's the most dangerous thing ever made.
Oh, it's an illegal weapon.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. So 9'6", 8 to 17 float rod. It's perfect. It'll do everything you want to do with it. A bobber dogging rod, same thing. It's got a light enough tip. It gives you that shock absorber, kind of like the side drifters that we used to use when Blue Creek was a thing, and all that. So it's a good combination. Not too heavy, not too light. It'll do what you want. 9'6" seems to be the number 1 size. Bank guys don't want too long a rod because then they're beating the trees and trying to cast and stuff. And if I'm in the boat, there again, don't need the length of the rod for the cast. I want that thing to be more accurate, a little faster action, and you don't want all these big long rods. So 9'6" is kind of the
Happy medium there.
Yeah, it is. It's my number one.
I like it.
And it's overall one of my best rods. I sell a ton of them.
What's it retail for?
$350 with this handle setup.
Okay.
But I know a guy who said if you mention Fish Hunt Northwest, you will get a discount. And I mean, I've been running sales for Black Friday. I run a New Year's sale and everything else. And I think we're going to put together a Kalama Sportsman show this year.
Oh.
Hopefully when the weather's a little bit nicer, I've got a big parking lot down there at the shop. We can set up and do something like that.
Yeah.
But I think it would really be good to get local vendors and the people that are basically getting hurt by the Sportsman show not, necessarily going the way they want.
So set something up there in the lot at Northwest Rods.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and then,
outdoors.
like I said, and I've had people that contacted me from last time I was here who said, hey, I saw you on Fish Hunt Northwest, and they came down and actually bought rods. And what's nice is that I'm open.
Yeah.
And I have rods.
This is
which
true.
Sounds crazy, but if you go into your local tackle shops, there's not a whole lot of things available. And so, the fact that I'm sitting on a big old stack of rods is always nice. And all USA made. People ask me all the time, whose blanks am I using? Well, they don't know that these are my blanks. I build these in Woodland at a factory. Yeah. So not only are they all American, but they're all local. And so if I don't have it already in the shop built, I can build it. 2 or 3 weeks, whatever customization you can. I don't want to get too fancy and make them really ornate. That's not my gig. Yeah. But if someone says, I need a mooching style handle for the Puget Sound guys, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
They say, hey, I want a true mooching rod. I want no trigger. I want that fiberglass 10'6" that I can load up in my downrigger and fish. And they're the only ones that do that.
Yeah.
None of my Oregon guys do that.
No.
We're all running 20 ounces of lead and doing it old school, right? So there's those two different fisheries, but these guys are looking for somebody who knows what they're talking about, has the blanks.
That's important.
And can build it. No, I don't want to just do one. I would like to do larger quantities, which has always been the issue from a custom builder to a fishing rod company. I can build one in the same time it takes me to build 10. So you better order 10 or I'm not going to want to do it.
Good point.
Right? So, but I can do it. Yep. And I don't care what crazy design. Guys bring me old rods from companies that have gone under, say this was my favorite rod from 7 years ago. Bring it into my shop, put it on the flex board, I show them the blank, they say yep, and I build it, and then suddenly they got their buddies want them, and their buddies, and that's how it goes. And I'm still small enough that I can give that custom touch, but I'm big enough to where I can reproduce it over and over and over.
Good point. Yeah, no, I was waiting to see this. You've been talking about it for a while, and
I've got a bait casting version that's coming for you, and it's going to be killer. And like I said, the new material. When you talk about this stuff, I kind of get to jump into things that are being dropped by other companies because there's so much stuff going on in this industry, and I don't wish ill upon anybody. I don't like to badmouth anybody or hope anybody goes out of business. But all these companies are struggling, and what's happening is the vendors are looking for other people. And so when a new material comes up, if a company's struggling, they may not be able to jump on it. Where I'm looking for everything that I can get and hoarding parts and doing stuff like that. So this came at a good time for me, and like I said, I'm just going to launch it now. And now the best part is that the older US one, even though they're awesome, they're going to be discounted, and they're going to need to find homes. And so as long as it's not just a color thing. I get people that hate green for some reason. I love it. I love being on the water and looking at a boat next to me, and it's got all these green spiders dancing on there, and you just say, oh yeah, that looks good.
I have my hands on those.
So I mean that helps too. But there's a lot of good things going on. People can go to my Northwest Rods Facebook page, shoot me a message through there, or my northwestrods.com. And they've got some models. Now I have 700 different models that are available for build. We have that many patterns, that many mandrels, different things we can build. But the problem is that that's not practical. I don't want to have 700 different rods in my showroom because there's the 30 that we sell all the time. But I have all of these rods available. I've got the main ones on the page, and when people send me a message, hey, do you have this? The answer is yes.
Well, I think that's the key here too. People are asking questions and go custom this, custom that, and you've kind of touched on it. Best thing to do is contact Dave via his Facebook page or his web page and ask the question. Email him or a messenger and ask him the question. Hey, can you do this? Hey, do you have this? Hey, can I come down and see you and talk about or see what you have? So don't discount your question. If you got questions about rods, or you are looking for that certain kind of rod, that mooching rod here in Puget Sound, or a specific line weight of trowel rod that you want for those Rufus Wood triplets, get a hold of Dave. I will be running his new series of kokanee rod this coming season. 8-foot one piece. I cannot wait. That thing is a specimen.
I can't keep those in stock.
I believe it.
So what I did was I built a run of 300 of them, and then I have them wrapped in like 50 at a time, and then I get them coated. And with the freeze, so this is the other thing. It's been so cold at my shop. I heat my house shop so I can do epoxy.
Right.
Little known thing that epoxy doesn't work when it's cold, and so you have to heat up a building. I know it's hard, and so you have to warm up a whole building just to get enough temperature to keep this from wanting to teardrop or get cloudy, and there's all these things. So when it's 32 degrees, I can't work.
No.
So the one thing I am is slow. I'm not quick. I don't say, 3 days it'll be to your door, and I am not quick, but I guarantee it's worth the wait.
The one thing I am is slow.
If you can be patient, because I am. I mean, you know how some companies say they're the fastest growing company? I am the slowest growing company. Perfect. But that's why I'm still in business. Because you grow too fast and then you're dead, right? So I am just going as much as I can, but I have 1,000 rods that will be done in the next 30 days.
Perfect.
And that's kokanee, and the scorpions I'm almost sold out, and springers haven't even shown up.
They're not even.
That's why when you said April 4th, I'm like, I won't be ready.
Yeah, perfect. Always good information. Before we get out of here, a handful of folks we've actually kicked out almost a 2-hour show tonight, by the way.
I know. I think it should be that way every day.
Well, we're trying. The information that hit the old social medias today, Ron Garner, president of PSA, had put out a post in reference to, and it's a pretty good read, and I want you to take time, go to Ron Garner's page or Puget Sound Anglers, and it's been shared around. Actually, go to our Facebook page. It's been shared there as well. They announced today that they were finally successful after the last 2.5 years of pursuing the Hatchery Scientific Review Group, the HSRG as it's become to be known, is finally removed. All the players involved, Ron Garner taking the lead on this thing for the most part with PSA, which is Puget Sound Anglers. The tribes are involved. They got NOAA involved. They've been working on this. All the commissioners voted to move past this. This has been just a barrier to moving progressively into the future with hatchery fisheries management and hatchery production and all the things that it has absolutely handcuffed managers and program managers and WDFW in how they're able to manage fisheries and produce hatchery fish. We have, and the numbers are all there. I am encouraging you to go read the article on our, the link shared on our Facebook page by Ron Garner. It is dialed in for you to truly understand what this means for the very near future and the long distance future in hatchery management here in Washington State. This is huge, absolutely huge to get rid of the HSRG and moving forward. And I'm going to try like hell this next week. I'll call Ron a couple times. I am really going to try to get him on the phone this next week, next Thursday, to truly explain what generated this discussion back over 2 years ago, and the efforts that they put in and for how long they kept fighting the good fight and finally landed on something that is rewarding to see that they were actually successful in making this. So more information on that to come. I encourage you to go read the article, get educated as to what is truly going on there. Again, I will reach out to Ron, hopefully get him on the phone, at least on the phone, to have a lengthy discussion on the positive outcome that this will have moving forward in our fisheries and fisheries management and hatchery produced fish and bringing back suitable numbers to keep up with the demand. So congratulations, credit to Ron Garner, tip of the hat, and to all those involved, especially at the commission level too. We got 8 of them voted in favor of this. The co-managers of tribes were on board with this. So really good things. I was excited to read that. People were blowing up my phones. It's like, have you seen this? Have you seen it? I'm like, yes, I've seen it. Yes, I'm reading it now. Sorry, I'm trying to read it, but you keep interrupting me. Yes, I've read this, and it's very, very good. So again, thank you so much for all the efforts, and more info on that to come. So with that, Dave, please reach out to this man. He's trying to keep the building heated. So to do that, you got to sell fishing rods.
That's a whole
right?
nother story. It's so cold.
We'll talk about it next week, right?
Well, I've had so much fun in here that I might come back again.
Okay, we may have to see.
It was good.
Tommy is on location, undisclosed, for another week. But yeah, we'd love to have you back. And we got more fishing rods to talk about next week. And in the meantime, reach out to Dave Calhoun, Northwest Rods. Find him on his Facebook page and ask him the question, message him, email him, see what it is, the type of rod you're looking towards. You're right. Sportsman show, may not. Maybe we have a special event down at your place. Great. We'll all show up. And moving forward, if you got your eyes set on a particular rod you need for your springtime fisheries, albeit tributary springers, which you and I are going to get involved with, some kokanee fishing, some big triploid fishing, some walleye fishing, reach out to Dave. He's got a rod that's going to fit very nicely in your hand and get you out on the water and make it worth your time. So appreciate everybody chiming in. If I didn't get to you on an answer here on your question or your comment, I will go back through as I always do and try to catch up with you by tomorrow at some point. So appreciate everybody tuning in. That'll do it for us tonight. Checking out for another week. Be relevant with us on our Facebook page throughout the week. We'll post a lot of content there. Put the questions to us via Messenger. Follow us on over to our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe. Let's build our numbers over there and check out our webpage, www.fishhuntnw.com. Check out our online store, purchase some items. We got a lot of really good logo stuff going on there. Sherry does a great job. If we don't have it, send us a question. Hopefully we can get it for you. All right, Dave, until next week, my friend.
Thanks, pal.
All right,
Take care, guys.
All right, we'll see you. Have a great night.